The battlefield roared. Chaos reigned. Johnson, a hulking figure of steel and fury, stood firm. The ground trembled as his engine ignited, a mechanical growl that sent chills down the spines of his enemies. He was Mobile Legends' unbreakable shield, a one-man army, ready to meet the enemy head-on. His team, a mix of mages and assassins, looked to him for protection, for hope. He would not fail them. The enemy surged forward, a tide of blades and magic. Johnson slammed his fist into the ground, a shockwave rippling outward. It caught the enemy vanguard, tossing them aside like rag dolls. He charged, a battering ram made flesh and metal, scattering the enemy ranks. His allies followed in his wake, their attacks finding purchase amidst the disarray Johnson created. His heavy armor bore the scars of countless battles, each dent a testament to his unwavering resolve. Johnson was a survivor, a protector, a beacon of hope in the darkest of times. He would see his team to victory, no matter the cost. His resolve was iron, his will unbreakable. The enemy would learn to fear the roar of his engine. Arrows rained down, spells exploded around him, but Johnson pressed forward. He was a storm of steel, unstoppable, unyielding. He slammed into the enemy front line, his metallic body a weapon against their fragile flesh. Each blow sent enemies flying, their formations crumbling under his relentless assault. He was the vanguard, the shield, the protector. Two enemy assassins, swift and deadly, darted around him, blades flashing. Johnson, unfazed, activated his electro-shield, a surge of energy crackling around him. The assassins, caught off guard, recoiled as the electricity shocked them. They fell back, momentarily stunned, giving Johnson's allies time to regroup and unleash their own devastating attacks. His visor glowed an intense red, scanning the battlefield, analyzing the flow of battle. He barked orders, his voice amplified by his suit, directing his team, countering every enemy move. He was the eye of the storm, the calm amidst the chaos. His leadership was as vital as his strength, his tactical mind as sharp as his metallic claws. Johnson, ever vigilant, spotted an enemy mage preparing a devastating spell. He reacted instantly, throwing himself in front of his unsuspecting ally. The magical energy slammed into his back, searing pain shooting through his circuits, but he held firm, his armor absorbing the brunt of the attack. His ally, unharmed, unleashed a torrent of their own magic, decimating the exposed enemy. His team, inspired by his selfless act, fought with renewed vigor. They pressed the attack, driving the enemy back inch by inch. Johnson, battered but not broken, continued to lead the charge, a symbol of unyielding strength. He was their rock, their protector, their guiding light in the darkness. The enemy, demoralized by Johnson's resilience and his team's ferocity, began to falter. Their attacks lacked their initial zeal, their movements hesitant. They had underestimated Johnson and his team, mistaking their compassion for weakness. They were soon to learn the folly of their mistake. Johnson roared, a sound filled with righteous fury, and charged into the heart of the enemy ranks. He became a whirlwind of metal and fury, his attacks relentless, his spirit unbreakable. The enemy, overwhelmed by his sudden onslaught, broke and scattered. The tide of battle had turned. He smashed through their defenses, creating an opening for his allies to exploit. Mages unleashed devastating spells, assassins darted through the gaps, cutting down fleeing enemies. The battlefield, once a cacophony of clashing steel and roaring magic, now echoed with the cries of the defeated. Johnson, though weary, pressed on. He wouldn't rest until victory was secured, until his team was safe. He was their shield, their protector, and he would see them through to the very end. The enemy had unleashed their fury, but it was met with an even greater force, the unwavering might of Johnson and his team. The enemy, their ranks shattered, their morale broken, attempted to flee. But Johnson, ever vigilant, cut off their escape. He stood before them, a metallic giant, an impassable wall between them and safety. Their attacks, once fierce, were now weak, desperate. They knew deep down that their defeat was inevitable. One by one, the enemy fell. Some fought with the last vestiges of courage, others begged for mercy. But Johnson showed no mercy, only the cold, hard justice of the battlefield. He had seen the cost of conflict, the pain and suffering it inflicted. He would allow no more bloodshed this day. The last enemy soldier fell, their body crumpling to the ground. Silence descended upon the battlefield, broken only by the soft whirring of Johnson's cooling engine. The battle was over, victory hard won but decisive. Johnson lowered his head, the weight of the battle heavy on his shoulders. He had fought bravely, protected his team, and emerged victorious. But victory, he knew, was a bittersweet thing. He had seen too much death, too much suffering. He longed for the day when such battles would be nothing more than a distant memory. His team gathered around him, their faces etched with exhaustion, but beaming with pride. They had faced a formidable foe and emerged triumphant. Their victory was a testament to their skill, their courage, and the unwavering leadership of Johnson, their steel sentinel. They cheered, their voices hoarse but filled with relief and joy. Johnson, despite his weariness, couldn't help but crack a small smile. He had done his duty, protected his team and ensured their survival. That was all that mattered. He raised his fist in salute, a silent vow to continue fighting for a better tomorrow, a tomorrow free from the horrors of war. For now, he would allow himself a moment of peace, a moment to savour the sweet taste of victory.